What's going on with our NHS? There's a lot said by populist politicians and in the news and things like that about how broken the system is. But what's the actual truth? What's the answer? And what isn't the answer? First of all, what's going on? Many of you will be on waiting lists. Many of you waiting a long time for treatment, and waiting lists are at some form of record high for everything. On the other hand, the NHS is providing more treatments of all kinds than ever before, and there are more patient appointments, and treatments are now being administered to patients that didn't exist even a few short years ago. To take eye care for an example, we're giving hundreds and thousands of injections of sight-saving intravitreal injections into the eye every month and every year, and these are ferociously expensive, take staff to give. And if you go back even just as far as 2007, before then there were no such treatments, and now they're a significant expenditure, but they do a lot of good. Same with cataracts. We do more than 500,000 cataracts in Britain each year now, and you don't have to go back that far, and the number was a heck of a lot less. We're doing more treatments than ever before. And this is an important thing to bear in mind, because then people say, oh, but all the NHS money is spent on managers. Actually, compared to, this is the King's Fund statistics here, compared to other countries, Britain spends far less on administration and management in the NHS than other comparable countries. And when it comes to expenditure per person, the NHS is infinitely cheaper than many other countries in Europe. I think only Greece, Spain, Portugal and Italy are cheaper than the NHS. America, of course, is ferociously expensive. But there are waiting lists. Why is this? Waiting lists occur because new treatments exist, but also because the NHS is designed in a fundamentally different manner, was designed, than what we need now. It used to be the case that a few doctors could do some treatments and were trained to do many things themselves, and a few offices in a few locations were all that was needed in many cases. Whereas now, eye care, for example, is very complicated, and what we really need is to group specialists together in regional centres of excellence. We need to move on from cottage industry ophthalmology and cottage industry NHS care to proper 21st century care, and that's going to need completely rejigging our services. It's fair enough to say throwing money at sticking plaster solutions isn't the answer, and I completely agree. What we really need to do is spend money on reconfiguring services. So instead of a lot of smaller eye departments, for example, all over the place, that we have quite a bit fewer bigger eye departments, efficient, equipped. Modern equipment costs a heck of a lot of money in order to run 21st century services. That's how the NHS should be fixed, through money. Through money to reconfigure services in a proper 21st century manner, bigger centres, more efficient use of staff. What isn't the answer is throwing money at maintaining the system as it is. And what definitely is not the solution is to spend money unwisely via part privatising the service via some form of insurance system like Nigel Farage and his lot want to do. France and Germany have much more expensive services than we do, and America has ferociously expensive services that don't even serve much of the population and are highly inefficient. The NHS gets quite good value for money from medicines, for example, as well. We can do better by reforming the NHS, and what's absolutely the wrong thing to do is to go down the private route. The private route is wrong. Don't listen to those people who can say, we can get the waiting list to zero overnight. These people, they don't know what they're talking about. They do not know what they're talking about. If it is possible to do that, it would have been done already. Anyway, it just gets me annoyed thinking about these things. Don't listen to people with simple solutions, because people with simple solutions are always wrong. Likewise, just a quick word on immigration. Some people say, oh yes, the NHS has long waiting lists because of immigrants. Nonsense. Balderdash. In fact, if you go into any modern NHS hospital, the place wouldn't function without immigrants. Here in Singleton Hospital Eye Department, I am the only Welsh consultant here. Everyone else is non-Welsh origin. So we are completely dependent on immigrants to run our services, and the patients are overwhelmingly Welsh. We need immigration to run the services. they're not causing the problem. And don't let these people scapegoat immigrants as the problem here. They are not the problem. Don't listen to these people who know nothing and with their populist talk and fantasies about their ridiculous solutions. They promise a lot, but they're dangerous siren voices. Don't listen to them. Thanks.